Good morning, Trucker Todd here, and time for another video. As you guys know, this morning I am going to be returning to the Swift terminal in Phoenix, which is their headquarters. Hadn't been there in well over 20 years, closer to about 23 or 24 years. I'm curious to see how it changed over these years. I hear from a lot of people it's a lot bigger and different than when I was there before, and so I can't wait to check it out and see what it's like. But that has brought up some interesting questions, and so I have my hat. Let me fix my hat. There. Several of you have asked me about AB-5. It's been in the news lately. The Supreme Court has decided not to hear the case, so it goes back to California. And you know, all the YouTubers couldn't resist. They had to put Trucking Apocalypse. They had to put the clickbait out there, try to scare you to death. And I thought I would tell you why I'm not that worried about AB-5. Perhaps I should be. Maybe I'm naive. But in this video, I'm going to tell you, especially while working here at Swift Transportation, gives me a peace of mind to where I'm not worried about AB-5. What I am worried about is you guys subscribing to the channel. Look down below this video, make sure you're subscribed, click that bell, select all, so that you receive notifications when future videos come out. Also, give this video a thumbs up and share it on your social media platforms. I hate saying it every video, but it's just a necessary evil these days to get the video out there where more people can see it. Also, there's a lot of other great information in the description below. If you click on the title, it'll have a drop-down menu and you can see the description and all the great information there as well. But without any further ado, let's fire up the music and talk about AB-5. Here we go.
And this is why I do this, why I'm out here, why I keep that hammer down, flying by these road signs with home on my mind, with these wheels turning round, for my family and for my kids, for this life I wanna live. And this is why I do this.
Alrighty, we're back, and before we go any further, I feel like there's a couple of things I might need to say, just in case you're wondering. First of all, I'm not a lawyer or an attorney or anything of the sort, so the information I've received has been off the internet and from other fairly reliable sources. You should do your own research about this and make your own financial and business related decisions based on your personal circumstance. Also, the views and opinions I'm about to express are mine and mine alone. I'm not an employee of Swift Transportation. I'm an independent contractor for Swift Transportation. I have not ran these views and opinions by them, and to the best of my knowledge, they don't support or endorse any of the comments I'm about to make. These comments are mine and mine alone. So this is just my personal opinion, folks. So here we go, let's jump in. So for those that don't know, AB-5 is something that started in California, where incidentally a lot of really great ideas have come from in the past. But let's not trash California in this video. AB-5, like many of the laws that come out, started with great intentions. It was supposed to be something that helped the rideshare guys, the Ubers and Lyfts of the world, to get treated more like business owners instead of employees. And instead what it did was trickle into trucking, to where a lot of guys that are independent contractors are now in jeopardy of losing their job. There's actually California being the main one, And I know Landstar and Prime made the news when they stopped hiring people out of California for independent contractor because of AB-5. Now, if it was just California and the rest of the country was fine, we'd all be okay. But here's what happened. When California had this great idea, a total of 9 other states, including New Jersey and Illinois, which are 2 that are really pushing this right now, started coming up with similar proposals. And so right now all it's done is make it to where Prime, Landstar, several companies don't want to hire independent contractors out of California because of fear of litigation from this. Now it's grown where New Jersey and Illinois and several other states are going, hey, this might be something we want to look at. And already there's several states that it's really hard to get hired in if you want to do a lease purchase in these states. Now, I think we ought to look at this a little bit differently before I get into why this doesn't concern me. First of all, you're an independent contractor. The key word there is independent. If you're working for a company like, I'm just going to go ahead and say it, these companies up in the Chicago-based area that some of them have Russian or overseas ownership. Oftentimes the dispatch is over there where they control your home time. They say, hey, you stay out 3 weeks, we'll give you 2 days at home. That's not independent. Independent means you have say-so in where you're going, you have say-so in where you fuel, things like that, the route you take. If a company is dictating these things to you, then you're not independent. Now, I want to talk about my personal situation here at Swift. I know as soon as I do this, somebody's going to get on here and say, well, my situation's even better than yours, and somebody else is going to get on here and say, well, my situation's nothing like yours. I'm getting screwed. I'm just talking personal experience here. Granted, I've only been at Swift a month, but I'm definitely independent here. I can turn down any load. I had one day where I turned down 4 loads in one day without any repercussions. Now, I don't suggest doing that unless you have good reasons, but I definitely do that. I select all my fuel stops. Swift has no input on that. They do send a recommendation where the computer tells me where the cheapest place to go is, but it even says in the recommendation, this is just a suggestion. Fuel where you want, basically. Anywhere comp data is accepted. And then you guys know about the Mudflap app. I use that, things like that. There's a big process on how I determine where to buy fuel, and that's not what this video is about. So we're going to stay on focus here. But so why am I not worried about it at Swift? Well, there's a lot of things going on here, and maybe if I was at a smaller company, I'd be more worried. Let's talk about the one thing everybody at Swift hates talking about right now, the load board that's in development. It's not out yet, so don't call the recruiter and say, hey, Trucker Todd said the load board's ready and I want on it. It's not there yet. They're working on it. But hopefully in the coming weeks or months or whatever it is, I'm not going to predict when it'll be ready, it'll be available. Now, should there come a new AB-5 nationwide deal like the PRO Act, we'll talk about the PRO Act in a minute, this load board's going to be out, and in my opinion, again, I'm not a lawyer, I think that's going to protect a lot of it because you're actually going on there and picking your own stuff without the involvement of a dispatcher or management or anything like that. But let's go, I always like to look at worst case scenarios. Let's say that AB-5 becomes the law of the land, all 50 states. Am I worried then? No. Remember what I said a few minutes ago? Independent contractor. You're independent, or at least you should be. You're a business owner. And whatever happens in the marketplace, it's still your job to run your business. So what might that mean in a worst case scenario? Well, in a worst case scenario, you might have to get your own authority. You might have to get your own insurance. You might have to do things like that. You might have to step out of your comfort zone. You might decide that being an independent contractor is not for you, and you want to go back to being a company driver. Now, me personally, I've got so used to this that, and I've got the money, I would just probably get my own authority and go back to running load boards or lease on to a company with my own authority, should the worst of the worst ever happen. Now, it's important to point out that there has been some legislation on the national level, and this is actually more dangerous than AB-5. There was one recently called the PRO Act, and it got held up in Senate, and a lot of people think it got held up because they were waiting to see what happened with AB-5 at the Supreme Court level. And since the Supreme Court kicked it back to California, it's pretty much the law of the land for California. Now, as it stands currently, it should not prevent people that are licensed outside of California from going into California. That could change at a later date. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm explaining things to you the way I understand them as they are right now. So, if this PRO Act, and it's almost verbatim what the AB-5 thing was, would have been enacted, it would have been real deadly to a lot of these independent contractors. Some of them aren't even leasing a truck. They're just being paid $10.99, which is actually illegal when you're driving a company truck, but somehow they're getting away with it. Or I believe it's illegal. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I want to stress that. So you should check with a legal advisor before you make any decisions regarding that. But anyway, there's a chance that law could resurface now that the Supreme Court's not touching AB-5. But here's what I think, and it took me a minute to get there. I get that. Basically, we're at midterms, and if elections ever had consequences, it's right now. And you know, I don't talk politics a lot on here. Some of you that have talked to me on the phone know my political views. But if there's ever a time when elections mattered, it's right now. You guys need to research which politicians feel which ways about these laws and vote your conscience and your morality and things like that. So if you are pro-trucking, in my opinion, you should be against these laws. And if you are anti-trucking, then I guess you're for these laws. But again, survivors will find a way to survive. And if this is going to become the law of the land at some point, we just got to figure out a way to adapt and survive. Which brings me full circle back to Swift. And this is why I feel comfortable not worrying about AB-5 while I work at Swift. Look, let's just be honest. Swift is a huge, huge company. And they've got a legal team. And you can bet their legal team is looking at this and is prepared for any outcome. Whether it goes through, whether it never goes through. And you can bet that they've got a plan. They may never share it with the public, of a way to survive this. And it's probably not going to be just wipe out all the owner-operators and wipe out all the lease purchases. There's probably a plan in place. But as I said at the start of this video, even if there's nothing, it won't affect me. I've done the things that I've said in these videos. I'm saving money. I'm running responsible to where even if I lost the truck, I could go out and get a truck and get my own authority and run, because this stuff's not going to happen overnight. Nothing's going to happen till the midterms. And if the Republicans win, they're going to make Biden a lame duck for the next 2 years. And if the Democrats win, then you're going to see a lot of liberal agendas get pushed through. And then we've got a presidential election that'll be 2 years after that, approximately 3 years from now. And that could change everything up again. But you guys know especially those that have talked to me. I'm not the type to sit around and worry and panic, but I am the type to be prepared, and that's what I'm going to do in this instance. I'm going to be as prepared as I can be. I'm going to put a little bit of faith and trust in Swift Transportation, that they'll navigate the laws to the best of their ability, and just kind of see how things work out. How are you prepared for all this? That's what I'd like to know. Leave me a comment below. Look in that description. Get my email. Shoot me an email. Tell me what your thoughts are and what you would do should something come through. One thing don't do, though, let's not be disrespectful. Let's not name call. Let's not put down other commenters, other viewers, or take cheap shots at me. A bad way to start a comment is by telling me how stupid I am, or how you don't like my truck, or something like that. It's kind of like when you were in kindergarten. Keep your hands to yourself, and if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. Alright folks, speaking of not saying anything at all, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. It's a little longer than I wanted it to be. Thank you for sticking with me. I'm going to go have some fun at the Swift Terminal in Phoenix, and we'll catch you on Friday. Have a great day. Bye-bye.